zombie apocalypse.
What is up, guys? It is Kenniron here, and it's time for the Harry's Last Stand in the Spider-Man 3 review. I am deeply sorry, not really, for not putting out a video in a while. Again, my internet flopped for a few weeks, and honestly, I hadn't even begun to make the video. But enough of my bullcrap excuses, let's get this show on the road with Spider-Man 3, the review of the emo spider. Story-wise, the movie seems like it tries to accomplish just a little too much. During the second one, they wanted to include Black Cat. In fact, she was a very big part of the film at first, but they scrapped it so they could focus more on Doc Ock. Well, this time they decided to keep all of the villains, as they had two new villains. Kind of three, actually. There's Sandman and Venom, they're the obvious ones, but then there's also the Harry. And he finally embraces the full powers of the dark side. Except he still couldn't save his loved ones. Or himself. Heyo! I won't bore you with all the details, as I've got a bit to cover. Essentially, Peter is dealing with his deepest, darkest demons while he's plagued by an alien symbiote, aka the Black Suit. Him and Mary Jane's relationship is faltering. He's dealing with a dickhead photographer who's trying to steal his job at the Bugle, and said photographer later becomes Venom by way of symbiote. And Harry becomes the new Goblin, gets in a few fights with Peter. Flint Marko, the guy who turns out to have accidentally killed Uncle Ben, becomes Sandman, fights Spidey a few times, and teams up with Eddie Brock, or Venom, to try and kill Spider-Man. Then Mary Jane gets kidnapped, yet again, to force Peter to engage in a final battle. This time, however, they are more solely focused on killing him, rather than trying to accomplish a separate goal. Although, I guess Green Goblin didn't have another goal, but, well, I don't know, city domination might technically count. But they take it a step further in the torture aspect, as they nearly beat and choke him to death. Just before Peter is ready to run out of steam, the new Goblin flies in and saves the day, because, yay, nobody saw that coming. Anyways, Venom, Eddie, and Harry all end up dying, while Sandman is never really explained. He doesn't die, he just kind of wisps away in the wind, but they kind of treat it as though he died, and it's really weird. Finally, Peter and Mary Jane live happily ever after at Harry's funeral. The end. So it's a lot more detailed and full to the brim with pretty decent storytelling. I say pretty decent because it's certainly not the best. It's not exactly easy to follow everything, as almost every line of dialogue is important for developing characters. You have to pay extremely close attention so you don't miss something. And while that isn't all bad, it does make the movie feel a little less fun to watch. So in short, it was a little too jam-packed. They tried to have too many running stories to collide at once, and it didn't quite work out for them. Overall, though, as long as you're paying attention, it's still a fun movie to watch, nonetheless. So getting to the character development, let me just get something straightened out of the way right now. It's what I'm pretty sure everyone hated about Spider-Man 3. Venom. Honestly, it's Venom. He is probably the worst design and development of any villain in any Spider-Man movie. Well, except maybe Electro. That guy was kind of a joke. Venom's design and all too sinister, no pun intended, attitude seems more on par with Carnage than Venom. Except, just a darker color. What I'm getting at is that Eddie seems a little too focused on nothing but the death of Spider-Man, yet he didn't seem to have enough motive for that in the movie. The focus had to be on way too many other characters, so they didn't have enough time to develop that big of a motive for murder. Eddie was nothing more than an unlikable whiny punk with a grudge. There was none of that playful, full of himself attitude in him, like there is in some of the comics and cartoons. There was also none of that lighthearted comedy that makes Venom one of those really likable characters. Sure, he can have some really creepy and dark moments, but he also has those humorous moments where he just jokes around for the heck of it. These moments help him make him much more of a three-dimensional character rather than just a stereotypical bad guy. Moments like banging on the horn of a truck he's driving while staring stalkingly at Spider-Man and making snazzy one-liners. I love those moments. Okay, Venom mini rant over. Now it's time for Sandman to catch crap. What the heck is wrong with this man? I get he's trying to save his daughter's life, but what he goes through to try and do it is ridiculous. Isn't the government gonna know he stole and then wonder how his daughter magically got the money to pay for her medical bills? That immediately stops his efforts to help her. Not only that, but it's so weird how his character flops between a nice, relatable guy into practically a monster. In one scene, you see him being a good-hearted father, and in the next, he's punching a dog in the frickin' face and turning into a sand monster due to a demolecularization test. Oh my claws, that is the most metal thing I've ever heard. The biggest point I'm trying to make is that he shows he doesn't want to hurt Spider-Man, but then he's so easily convinced to kill him. I suppose it's probably because Black Spider-Man, no, not Miles, tried to blatantly end his life, so it's a form of payback or something. But at the same time, he seems to have a pretty good understanding of why Peter did it, and he has a good understanding of the amount of pain that Peter must have gone through. In the end, he's okay with all the stuff that happened between him and Peter. So, why is he such a willing accomplice to Venom? They make Sandman's character seem like he would never team up with another villain, especially one like Venom, nor even want to hurt Spider-Man, yet he does both, only to go back and say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. You don't have to worry about me ever again. No, no." It just seems like he's as morally conflicted and flawed as Doc Ock was in the second one. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my Spider-Man 2 review. Self-promoting intensified. And now, the Sandman mini-rant is over. On to the Harry. I actually enjoyed Harry's character in this one a lot. Oh, by the way, cool artwork. Props to whoever did it. I don't know who it is, but it's not mine. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I actually really enjoyed Harry's character in this one. He goes from a villain to a normal guy, briefly back to a villain, and then becomes a sort of hero. Unlike Sandman, all the flopping between his good and bad sides are justified. Kinda sucks that he died though, because I would have loved to see how Spidey and the New Goblin's relationship would translate on a superhero level. But hey, like father, like son, am I right? Okay, who wrote that in there? Too soon. Too soon. They had some really nice chemistry in the time that they fought together, too. Geez, I guess I'm kind of making them sound like a gay couple. Harry and Peter, they just go and dump Mary Jane at the same time. They're like, forget you, we're dating each other now. Enough homoerotic fanfic ideas. Mary Jane and Aunt May both don't seem to develop that much. Actually, Aunt May might have all of like 3 or 4 scenes. MJ just gets extremely jelly of Gwen Stacy for a little bit, and then dates Harry on the side. Yeah, she's still a hoe. But I understand why they didn't develop much, as the focus was on other characters, and not them. Peter, on the other hand, goes through some major changes. He starts wearing eyeliner and becomes commonly known as Emo Peter. But that's actually not a very bad thing in this movie. I absolutely love the scenes when he's got the black suit and he's strolling around freely without a care in the world, just dancing and pointing at everybody and making a fool of himself. It's just really fun to see. There have been multiple times where someone would actually tell me that I look like Spider-Man when he had the black suit, or I look like Peter Parker, or just Toby McGuire in general. And that's a fact I'm very proud of. So, tangents aside, the whole showing off at the jazz club thing, that scene is just a classic. It was nice to see a different, slightly rude side of Peter like that. One character that I did not particularly care for was Gwen Stacy. Actually, I don't think anybody liked her. She seemed like a typical dumb blonde, and her character really doesn't go into much detail. She's a model, she dated Eddie and Peter, and her dad's Captain Stacy, and she's in college. That's about it. Nothing is really given about her personality except she seems a little bit preppy. But, hey, what's one side character to a whole cast of main ones? As far as action goes, there's arguably more of it in this movie than the previous two. And it's quite diverse at that, as you have 3 different characters he fights multiple times, and then the one tag team battle at the very end. The only fight that seemed like a little bit of a letdown was the first Sandman confrontation. I just didn't feel like either of them were using their abilities to really make it interesting. But all other fights were pretty on point. I'd say this action is considerably better than the other 2 movies. Another thing this movie got right was the scenery. Also, I don't know why I chose this picture to show scenery, although this is one of my favorite scenes. But sure, you have the usual day and night scenes of the city, but there's so much more than that, and it's all stuff that we haven't really seen before. You have Central Park, the Jazz Club, the underground subway place, the Bell Tower Church, as I've shown here, and the skyscraper construction site, and they were all such amazing places for the scenes that took place within them. If there's anything this movie did do perfectly, it's gotta be the scenery. So I guess I'll go ahead and jump to the verdict then. Straight to the point, I'd give Spider-Man 3 a 7.4 out of 10. If you can get over Venom, Sandman, and Gwen's poor character development and design, it delivers itself as a pretty good movie. But because of all the flaws within the characters, and because those characters happen to be the 2 main villains, it bumps the movie's rating down a considerable amount. That, and Mary Jane getting kidnapped again, that gig is just getting a bit old. But in any case, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. Tell me what you thought with a comment, show me how much you loved the video with a like, and show me how much you love me and my channel with a subscription. Or 2. Do you have 2? Do you have 2 channels that you could subscribe with? I would like them. Anyway, enough of that. I'll go ahead and try to knock out the Amazing Spider-Man movies if I can, and hopefully I'll get those out on schedule. Again, sorry for the extremely late upload, but as always, hope you guys enjoyed, and Kenniron out. In one scene, you see him being a good-hearted father, and in the next he's punching a dog in the face due to a No, I messed that up. In one scene, you see him being a good-hearted father, and in the next he's punching a daughter. No. Dog, not daughter. Oh, that would be terrible. Oh, no. And in the next, he's punching a dog in the face and turning into a sand monster due to a demolecular Dang it! Punching a dog in the face! No. Demon Lecture Station. That's how you say it. It's Demon Lecture Station. Actually, that sounds like something off of Supernatural. Demolecularization. Demolecularization. Hey, I did it. Alright, finally. Took half an hour.